Hey everybody. Alright, this is a response to 10H41, or Johnny as you all know on YouTube. He asked a question, posing a difficult question for us collectors. What is your top 3 Hot Wheels? And it's a hard decision to make. It's kind of like asking a parent who has multiple kids, okay, who's your favorite kid? You really can't say for a definitive answer on who's your favorite. I like all the old cars equally. I mean, yeah, there's your up and downs, but there's so many just to go the 3. I'm pretty sure you guys guessed where my number 1 seat's going to be, basically just off my screen name. But before I get to number 1, I'm going to show you a couple honorable mentions before I get into the 2, 3, and then the number 1 spot. Honorable mentions would definitely be the old stock cars of the day. The Ford Gran Torino, another Torino, the Monte Carlo. Back when NASCAR built cars not for aerodynamics, all of a sudden it was more about what was underneath the hood. Vintage race cars. Back when it wasn't just, about who had the wings, who had the aero package. It was back when what was under the hood. I mean, back in the day, back in the, early part of NASCAR, the 50s, 60s, 70s, a little bit of the 80s, when a car could look, you could have 2 Torinos, but then that team that built, the number 23 was able to pass everybody and be the only car in the lead lap. I mean, that was back in the day. I mean, these simple. I mean, the reason why I picked these 2 castings is basically because it's the same base, but the body, it was different. They had the same base, same interior. The bodies were different. Even the glass was the same on these 2 models. Only thing that was different between the Monte Carlo and the Torino was the hood scoop that's found on the Torino is still in the interior. It's just tucked underneath the hood. Another honorable mention would be the old 442s. Like the police cars. The original 442, the staff car, the Maxi Taxi. These were beautiful cars, and the early ones that had the bubble light. I mean, this was kind of still innovative for Hot Wheels to still have a clear, one color plastic window and have another separate piece just for a bubble. Bubblegum headlight or cherry top and the opening hood. A lot of these have gone away in the last few years. I mean, this is when Hot Wheels was coming out the red lines, going into the black wall. But I mean, this is still when they made hefty metal bodies, metal bases. Old 442s, staff car, Maxi Taxi. Alright, in the number 3 spots. This was a childhood favorite of mine. I wish I still had my childhood version, but I don't. A lot of us have regretted what we've done to our childhood cars. But this one saw a lot of time in the sandbox, playgrounds, everywhere in the house. Old number 5. The original old number 5. Not the new one that's got that bulky, crappy engine sitting right here. This is the vintage version. I mean, this is when it had the big metal, sharp metal bumper. It had the plastic, thinner plastic breakable ladders. Metal body, plastic, sharp when the lights broke off. The separate piece just for the bumper. I mean, they don't do that no more with these Hot Wheels. It's a shame that these are no longer produced as they were back in the day. In the number 2 spot is another Redline car. And a lot of people are going to be, not too surprised if they knew me. Chevy guy, 67 Chevrolet Camaro. I mean, I did a full series on, or a full video on just the Camaro alone. The 67 and custom Camaro. Now, this is the red line. Original, 16 Hong Kong made. Blue on blue. Black steering wheel. Metal base. Metal body. Opening hood. I mean, Hot Wheels has tried replicating this car, but they'll never come close to the original cars. I mean, those are number 3 and number 2. I'll be right back with number. Okay, everybody, I am back, and as you can see, number 1 seed in my top 3 of all time for Hot Wheels cars is going to be a tie between 2 castings: the Back to the Future DeLorean and the regular stock DeLorean. As you can see, I've got quite a few, at least open. Others are still packaged, but you can see when the movie first came out in 1985, and being a little kid, I was, I'd just been born, so it was about a couple years after the movie actually came out when I first saw it. But as a little kid, you're sitting watching the movie. You see the big white box truck, and you see it open up, and the steam, the exhaust, whatever it was, as the back end of this car slowly rolls out. You see the detail pieces, and you see it roll up. Camera pans all around it. See the headlights, and then as soon as the door opens, and you hear the words, Marty says, "You made a time machine out of a DeLorean." That was what sold me on this car. I know other cars were a little more popular back in the day. This was after the DeLorean had run its course, all the legal problems, but it didn't matter. Robert Zemeckis and Steven Spielberg, Bob Gale took the car and made it an icon. It would be later featured in other movies: Beverly Hills Cop, Simpsons, Wedding Singer, several other movies and TV shows that would feature the DeLorean, had it not been for that movie. And it's been a childhood favorite of mine, and you don't know how hysterical I've been every time I see a DeLorean somewhere. And you can see I've got them stock, I've custom them, I put real riders on it, painted the wheels, detailed the interior, even detailed, if you can open it up, the back section, which is black, that Hot Wheels kind of missed out. Detailed the lights, which I cannot wait to get the Boulevard before their time DeLorean and match it up against this one. Even customed the AMX, or American Express car version, which is what the gold DeLorean is. You never heard the story back in the 80s, before DeLorean completely went under, American Express partnered with DeLorean and was going to provide several 24-karat gold-plated cars. It never happened. There are only 3 known to survive. 2 have the tan interior, 1 has the regular stock interior, which was used as a parts vehicle in case the others were damaged in any sort of fashion. They'd have a backup. The black one is more of a modern day that they did, that customizers have done, have gone back and painted the bodies black, red, blues, greens, several other colors. Of course, this one's got the Speed Machine wheels. Of course, I did the one larger, one smaller in the front and back. Really wish Speed Machines had stuck around, so this could have actually happened in the packaging. Maybe one day Hot Wheels will release the car with maybe, the DeLorean stock with silver coal molds. But until that point, this is basically the fantasy. here is the Part 2 flying DeLorean. Like Biff said, haven't seen a DeLorean flying in over 30 years. Still have to detail the bottom a little bit. You can see it is correct to the hover, and even built the correct back in a deck. I've seen others customize this car, and all they've done is just glued on a little piece. This one, I think, is the only one that's got the full deck recreation. I know a few of the colors are not correct. I'll fix that later on. But other than that, I've detailed the best I could interior wise. Still needs a few more details, I think. But other than that, it is it. Of course, I got the old flux capacitor, the thing which makes time travel possible, on my iPhone or iPod. So yeah, that is my top 3. I bet everybody was like, we already know what your top 1 is. The other 2 might be a surprise, maybe not, I don't know. And I know I've got an oddball, but you really can't have Part 1 DeLorean without having the Volkswagen T2 bus full of Libyans chasing it down. Alright, thank you very much for watching. So it was for you, 10H41, or Johnny. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.